People's Talk Show is starting now, and it's time for business. Let's talk about today's news and give me a call.
All right, we are live for the Monday edition of the People's Talk Show. And it's never a dull moment in the world. There's always something happening. You can always find some type of leading story somewhere. And unfortunately, it's never really going to be in our favor. But then again, it's what's happening behind the scenes. And I think it's worth touching on just because it gives you a better picture as to what's really going on out here. So hope everyone's doing as well. I hope everyone is doing well. A happy Monday to everybody. I hope you got a great weekend and everything in between. And so just want to connect with you guys, share with you what caught my attention, scanning through the headlines today. And I'm not sure if it's the algos or what, but a lot of information in reference to military assets moving towards the Middle East is picking up. And I saw an interesting caption that really got my attention. But I thought about, okay, military assets moving, governments over indebted, and just need of some type of can kicking mechanism or way to reverse course and really get this thing moving forward in their favor. And it really got me thinking about the military industrial complex and how clearly it appears that they're back in action. And so we're going to touch on that as well as share with you a couple interesting news stories I came across. But before I do that, welcome to the live stream. If we have any first-time viewers, definitely let me know where you're watching from. Would love to welcome you to the community. And then when the phone lines open up, 313-462-0027 is a number that you can call and let your voice be heard. And so in reference to the oil, it's good to say if or when something officially kicks off amongst an assortment of countries, I would imagine that oil price is definitely going to go a lot higher. I actually saw a forecast from a think tank or something like that talking about their predictions on where they think oil prices would go if they're actually if all this turned out to be some type of a real event beyond what we're being sold. And so we'll find out. But once again, I would expect prices to go a lot higher because you can't have a war without having oil to fund it. So anyway, let me check in real quick. Acknowledge a few people. We got Vince checking in. How you doing, my friend? We got Neil. We got the new queens of rap checking in as well. We got Tony L. We got Daryl checking in. We got JBW, Mercedes 65. Appreciate you from Tennessee. Welcome. So as always, the goal is just to scan the headlines, share my 2 cents on it and get your take. Feel free to throw out thoughts, ideas, suggestions as to what you guys want to touch on or what came across your radar today. Pablo Pina, how you doing, man? Long time. Hit the thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. Hopefully that helps more people get notified. But then again, there's no keys. Also streaming over on Rumble as well. So for my people over on Rumble, definitely hit that thumbs up. Make sure you get notified when we go live. And so I have these 15, 16 tabs open of things that caught my attention. And so I'm going to just scan through it as fast as I can, share my 2 cents on it, and let you guys, decide whether it's something worth sticking or let it flop. So anyway, let's dive right in, man. Welcome to the live stream. Let's keep it moving. All right, let me see what I got going on here. All right, so before I move forward, as always, never know who's new to the fold. And so here's a primary example of never knowing when disaster might strike. And so right now in Acapulco, Mexico, that's a story that took place a couple days ago, and it hasn't gotten a lot of attention because the mainstream media wants our attention on the war. But then again, you have a tropical storm that turns into a Category 5, comes through and wipes out an entire city. And of course, there's stories on, how and why, because it's unnatural in of itself. And I saw things about how Acapulco was picked to be labeled as a smart city. So it falls in line with the mysterious weather or whatever you want to call it that happened in Hawaii. So nothing is accidental these days. But the whole point is lifestyle's wiped out. And it's one of the things where you don't know unless you're a part of that unique club of individuals that have already predetermined what cities they want to turn into smart cities outright, or they want to turn into some type of strategic area that they're going to rebuild up in there with their own plan and agendas. So that's why it's always good to have some type of preparation just in case. Hopefully you don't need it, but then again, you never know. And that's why I want to make sure I continue to, make sure I pub up my partners over at Four Patriots, man. So I can never not mention this, just because it's always good to make sure you got something extra on hand. And so for the emergency preparedness deals, if you go to fourpatriots.com/RTD, you get to this page here, and you get a chance to just grab some things that are small in nature, but might go a long way. And so you got water filters, you got food, everything in between. So if you guys are interested, I encourage you to go check them out and save a couple dollars if you guys want. And also the solar generator. Everybody at this current moment should have some type of backup energy supply. And pray to God you never need it. But then again, if lights go out, power go out, just in regular, you'll have something. So definitely go check them out. They offer, a nice little 2,000 kilowatt generator. So definitely check them out. So that's fourpatriots.com/RTD, and you'll always be good. So anyway, let's get going, man. But before I do that, I want to start off with what appears to be some good news. Let's get to some good news real quick. And this good news happens to do with what's happening here in the Motor City. And so as of now, as of today, as of this morning, it looks like the UAW ends strike after reaching a tentative deal with the big three automakers. And so GM was the last company to basically come to an agreement with the big three. And so they were shooting for a 30%, 36% wage increase, but they ended up selling for a 25% wage increase. And a lot of other things, tiered structure. And I want to say for Ford, the base pay, I think I saw something like $42. And so it was a lot of, I guess, beneficial things for them to call this strike to come to an end. And just a little idea as to the damage that has been done thus far with just a few weeks of everybody being out of work. It says the UAW strike caused an estimated $4.2 billion in losses to the big three and resulted in $488 million in lost wages for the workers. It says the work stoppage also rippled and caused layoffs at automotive supplier companies as well. So that's just the big three losses. As I mentioned, on the outskirts of all the big three, you got all the tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, and they laid off. And so whether or not they'll be hiring them back, I'm sure they will. But then again, a lot of money lost in the meantime. So it's good to see them getting back to work. And it's just a matter of now we wait and see how long the Federal Reserve can keep the economy afloat before something officially breaks and cracks. And, we have the official recession announced that they're trying to hide from us. But anyway, thought that I'll start off with some good news for those who are curious as to what's going on. Okay, so let's get to the main story, man. I don't want to get too far behind. As always, if you guys are just coming in and just starting, so the goal is to just skim through the headlines, man, let you know what I've been keeping my eye on. And then let me move myself out the way here. But this is what led to this particular stream here in reference to the, the warships, just because, our news here is only going to tell us the stories after they developed. And so through the Twitter sphere, I get a chance to get different opinions from people all around the world. And of course, everything might have a spin on it, so take it with a grain of salt. But then again, do your own due diligence with it. I'm just letting you know what catches my eye. But this was very interesting because it says for the first time since 1945, more than 50 warships from 11 countries are present in the Mediterranean and Red Seas. So I'm thinking like 1945, that's close to 80 years. And of course, that time frame there, 1945, was the last year on the history books for World War II. And here we are now, all the alternative media and some even mainstream media talking about World War III. And so I just think this is very interesting because you wouldn't be sending all those assets to a region for no reason. There's clearly a reason behind it. And of course, I'm sure everyone here has a particular angle to what the ultimate agenda is. But another thing that caught my attention, and let me see if I can grab this real quick here. Let me see if I can grab it. No, this is not it. This is not. Let me see. Did I actually? Give me a second. Let me see if I actually put it on here in my to-do list of things to talk about. I did not. So let me just, because this is another little caption that caught my attention. Let me grab it real quick. Forgive me. But it's very important as to what I believe is really, really going down. And it has more to do with the spiritual side of things, which, no matter what, what you believe in and where you stand, everything boils back to the spiritual essence of things. But here is a little clip that I grabbed from a speech that Erdogan gave, and I think this was during their little 100-year anniversary ceremony a couple days ago. But it says, "Hey West, I ask you, do you want to reignite the war between the crescent and the cross?" And when I saw this, I'm thinking like, man, like these guys literally, they wouldn't mind starting a holy war type of confrontation. And so I'm thinking like the crescent and the cross, like things really then begin to become biblical in nature. And then I thought about how, with all this military assets going to the Mediterranean right now in favor of Israel's crusade into Gaza. So I thought about like another title was like, Israeli Crusades. The title I was thinking about was Israeli Crusades to start a holy war or something like that. But I didn't want to go too down that hole there because I can really, hit some nerves and things like that. But, literally right now, the Israeli Crusades into Gaza, and you hear about all the oil off the coast of Gaza and how they have plans for that. There's so many narratives out here. It's hard to really come through a clear and concise viewpoint other than death and destruction never equals anything good at the end. Okay, I'm rambling too much. Forgive me. All right, let me get to the headlines, man. I get caught up too quick. Okay, let's get into the headlines. So, warships approaching the Middle East like we haven't seen in 78 years now. And so here is another little graphic that caught my attention, just highlighting some assets. Military assets is moving to that area. So this is from open source intel. And so take of it what you may. I just, see it and I try to validate as best I can. But then again, it's just entertaining in and of itself. So tracking U.S. allied ships, IVO Israel, or en route. So here we have all these ships right here. Ike Carrier Strike Group. We got the Tornado, Argentina, or whatever. We got the Ford Carrier, Standing NATO Maritime Group 2. All these troop ships here. And then give you an idea, it says 46 surface combat currently in the Eastern Mediterranean or en route. We got two times aircraft carriers, 2-time amphibious assaults. You guys see those 2-time amphibious transport docks. We got 1 docking landing ship. We got 10 destroyers, 16 frigates. We got 2 cruisers. So, these are military assets that just are not all of a sudden just going in that area for nothing. Clearly, there's a plan. And so I got my suspicions because I'm thinking about how this Israeli conquest is continuing to move forward. And then you got Netanyahu out here talking of, you basically quoting the Bible and using it in a way that to me just doesn't resonate with my spirit. I mean, he's out here using scripture as if he's a modern day Joshua and he got word from God to go take the land of Canaan or something like that. Like that time is long gone. And so he's not called, in my opinion. I could be wrong. He's not called to go and do what he's doing and then given, saying it's God ordained type of things. That's what I'm like. That's when I get things a little bit, things get a little bit spooky to say the least. X says thought on Rite Aid pharmacists heading to strike. Let me see. I'm not surprised. My suspicion is that because people see how that UAW as well as the FedEx, I'm sorry, not FedEx, but UPS was successful in getting more, expect more companies that have a large, expect more publicly traded companies in the U.S. especially that has a very underpaid workforce to go on strike. So it's definitely going to happen. So it doesn't surprise me one bit. They're going to go on strike, get more money, then eventually the company's share market value is going to go down because they're going to have to charge prices. People are not going to buy their goods. Then they're going to start laying off. That's how this is how the cycle is going to go, in my opinion. Okay, I'm rambling too much again. Okay, next little headline here. So here's another little graphic here, just to show you what's going on here. And of course, Twitter gives a little bit of a spin to it, but I will share it nevertheless. Let me move myself out the way here. Get to the nitty gritty of things. Says the largest fleet of warships NATO has ever assembled is gathering in the Mediterranean Sea. In addition to the U.S. carriers, groups, and amphibious assault, several other warships from the NATO nations are joining this rank. So, got a lot of artillery moving. Then here's something else that caught my attention. This is 50 U.S. military transport planes flew into the Middle East within 24 hours. So once again, like I don't know how they acquired this information here. So take it with a grain of salt. But then again, it's posted and people are really responding to it as if it has some validity. So make of it what you may. But we all know from a little bit of news here that Biden is already sending assets, I mean, human beings and our military equipment over there. So just a matter of what are they not telling us? And so here's a headline that really caught my attention. And this is from RT. So it's from a different side. But it says 5,000 U.S. troops involved in Gaza offensive. It says the report, Tasnim News Agency out of Iran, comes as the Pentagon has moved additional military assets into the Middle East. So I think last week I mentioned that the emergency Department of Defense, the General Secretary General, whoever he was, announced that he was getting ready to send 2,000 troops on top of the thousands of people on the ships and stuff like that. So we have more human lives over there, more soldiers over there. But then here we have from the other side, from their intel. So this is coming from Iranian intel for whatever it's worth. So they're saying that according to the agency's security sources, Israeli assaults on Gaza involved 3 divisions and several brigades and was underpinned by 5,000 U.S. military personnel. The outlet, however, did not provide any details about which troops took part in the offensive or what functions they performed. So it's good to say that the Israeli soldiers are just not doing this by themselves. I don't know the total population of Israel, but it's good to say they wouldn't have enough military troops to defend, to continue the Israeli crusades, and then also attack, the Syrian, fighters up above and anything else around them. So the U.S. is definitely helping them. So all these assets from Europe or the Western forces, Western hemisphere, going in that region for support, they're going to provide cover, in my opinion. They're going to provide cover for Israel so Israel can finish their conquests, and then we'll find out what happens. And in the meantime, God forbid that something happens in the form of a ship sinking by some mysterious force or some false flag. And then, of course, the U.S. is going to blame it on who? Iran. Okay, keep it moving. Keep moving forward. So here's another little disturbing headline. It says the Pentagon proposes the creation of a 360 kiloton nuclear bomb, 18 times larger than the one detonated in Nagasaki. So amongst all this military issues we're having, military assets moving, these cats talking about creating another nuclear bomb 18 times larger. For what? Like, who in the heck, pardon my French, are you going to use this on? So why even create stuff like this? But once again, we know the military-industrial complex is back in action. And speaking of that, let me see what else I got here. Iran has made it clear that if Iranian foreign minister warns U.S. will not be spared if the Israeli-Hamas war escalates. So this right here is not good coming out of Iran, if this is a true quote, because the U.S. is itching to come into Iran, to go into Iran. But then again, you go in Iran, you're going to have Russia, you're going to have China. So it's just not going to be a one-on-one fight. So I hope they're thinking about this before they move. But once again, the next thing I thought about will not be spared. What is he referring to? No doubt that there's a lot of sleeper cells in this country waiting to get that call from the Iranian military force, the sheik, whoever is going to get that call. All you got to do is make that one call to all their terrorist cells, and then it'll pop off overnight in this country. Okay, keeping it moving. So speaking of military-industrial complex, here is something that caught my attention. This is where follow the money. Where is the money flowing? Who benefits most from this? Let's find out. So here's the world's top 25 defense companies by revenue. So this came out literally over the weekend, like Friday. The world's top 25 defense companies. So for those who are, this is where I'm like, I don't know if it's, I can't use the word ethical, but I'm not sure where you stand at. But, if you want to be, guaranteed to, profit off of this, then these are the companies you probably want to just, bet it all on type of thing, because this is their run up right now. Like the pharmaceutical industry was 2020, 2021. These boys about to run up. And I actually got some graphs here. So real quick here, just to give you an idea as to what this is all about. Let me make it smaller if I can. Oops, no, forgive me. Let me make this smaller so it shows up. Okay, so make it smaller. So we got the defense company. So we got the very first one, Lockheed Martin, revenue from defense, 63 billion. Raytheon, now RTX, 39 billion. We got Northrop Grumman, 32 billion. So I'll give you the list right here. Spare you that. Lockheed Martin, 63 billion. So actually, like, okay, well, let me find out what type of price activity they've had over the last 3 weeks since this excursion kicked off in the Middle East. And so I looked up Lockheed Martin. So I typed in 1 month, hit 1 month. Let me see what happened. Oh, look at this. On October 6th, their share price was 413, 400, and their share price was 400 even. And then the next day, it went up to 433, and as of right now, it's high in the last week or two is 451. So literally, from the time the military excursion started, it wasn't doing too good. They put that call in, some bombs start flying, it took off. That's Lockheed. Then let's look at, let me move this out the way. Let's look at formerly Raytheon. Right now, trading at $78 for one share. Let's look over the last month. It was $69. And then it got up to 79. And right now, so these are the top two defensive companies publicly traded that will definitely, if this continues on, God forbid it picks up and gets even worse, these companies here will be benefiting massively. And you better believe all of Congress got these stocks in their portfolio because they are signing off on this in a sense. Okay, keep it moving. Here's another thing. Treasury set to borrow 776 billion next quarter, the most ever borrowed in the fourth quarter. So deficits is being ran up the wazoo. National debt is increasing. So it's $1 million last year, and it's going to be 1.6. I'm sorry, it's $1 trillion last year. It's going to be 1.6 trillion that is forecasted for this upcoming fiscal year. That's barring any other events. That's barring any military conflicts. That's barring any war. That's barring any false flags. That's just 1.6 that they have on the books for what they need to cover bills. Just to cover bills, 1.6 trillion. So that means our current national debt is 33 point some trillion dollars. It's going to be 1.5 by beginning of next year. That's how bad it is. And just to show you how unfortunate it is for the interest payments. So here we have real federal interest payments. So as you guys can see, this thing is about to go through the roof. And so give you an idea, it says from Treasury, borrowed $1 trillion last quarter, expects another $776 billion this quarter. Would be miraculous since it borrowed $500 billion this month alone. Then $816 billion in Q1 next year. So on track to borrow $3 trillion this fiscal year as projected. So this fiscal year is projected to have $3+ trillion. And then interest on that is going to go up as long as these rates continue to climb. Okay, what else we got going on here? So back in the Main Street, what's happening in Main Street? Survey found most Americans are falling behind on emergency savings. It says the survey found that 60% of Americans are falling behind on their savings for emergency, in which 38% say they are significantly behind. And it says 30% of households have some amount of savings, while 20% had no emergency savings. So not only from that video I did earlier where we got credit card defaults, delinquencies just surpassing the great financial crisis, we got also people not able to save. And then next one here, we got Halloween tomorrow, but it says less boo for your buck. For the second Halloween in a row, U.S. candy inflation hits double digits. So not only are companies taking on more burden because they had to pay their employees more than likely to keep good talent, which will be shown in their prices, and the cost of getting the material needed to make this candy, basically all the chemicals they need to make candy. It costs more. So what do? They pass it on to consumers. And so it shows up in the price. And we can expect this for quite some time. But once again, signs of price increases. And then here's something else that's very concerning. This has to do with sleeper cells / the destruction of our country from within that our woke left government has decided to do. It says Venezuela's worst gangsters have crossed into the U.S. illegally and are unleashing chaos in Dallas, Chicago, and Miami, with fearful residents saying they've had their tires slashed, windows shot out, in retribution for reporting them to cops. So I've seen several videos now. So it says man gets beaten up in a Venezuelan neighborhood in Dallas. So you got, everybody recording everything nowadays. So yeah, like evidence is right there. But anyway, so this is more pictures here. But when you flood the country with foreigners of all types and kinds from everywhere in the world, and there's another article I shared saying that. Let me see if I got it. I don't have it. Do I have it? Nope. I don't have it. But there was 100 Iranian men and 50 Syrian men, like either captured or something like that at the border or something like that. Something like that. That's just some numbers they gave us. So it's good to say it's a lot bigger than that. Okay. Anyway, enough of me ranting, man. Let's get the phone lines open. Where and what do you guys want to touch on? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me get the phone number here. If you'd like to share what is on your radar or other stories related to this subject matter, feel free to give me a call. 313-462-0027 is the number. Let me make sure I got my phone open. So give me a call. Let me know what's on your mind, man. What other things are worth talking about or highlight at Rethinking a Dollar? And then we can get it going. Oh, yeah. This is going to be an interesting week. We got the FOMC meeting this week. So we're going to find out what's going to happen, which is nothing. But then again, the damage has already been done. Diversity is your strength now. Or what is it, border? All right, let's get you on here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Wayne 313. I'm calling right.
Wayne 313. I'm doing good, my friend. What's on your mind? Give me something quick, if you don't mind.
On the Treasury, Janet Yellen's about to issue out.
Yeah.
All the treasuries, I don't really want to speak on all the treasuries that been issued in the last 30 years. Forget amount of them, right? I'm just wondering what's that number, and if everybody had to market right now, I wonder how much would they be worth, and how much are the pension funds, the 401ks, I just wonder how it's going to be when everybody realizes it's nothing but confetti for the future. Okay, but they're not going to be able to get to the. It's not like France and with the Austin guy. They're not going to be able to get to Jerome Powell and them, but they will be able to get to us. So we got to be careful on how we reveal to the people when they wake up.
Yeah,
we got to be kind of careful because they might come for us. Just because we feel the messenger,
Yeah. Oh, no, it's. I mean, once they realize that they've been lied to this entire time and that they truly don't own what they thought they own, they coming for everybody. They're going. I mean, it's just going to be unleashed into the world, not necessarily directly at anybody, but the frustration will be quite obvious. Because imagine, like, just like that video from the guy that I showed with the pension. Like, he lost his pension with the trucking company, and he just went haywire. I've been working 30 million for years, and I ain't got no pension. And so people like that, when you think you lose it all, you lose your rationale and everything in between, and you probably do. Some people are capable of doing things because if their life is tied up in their net worth or into material possessions, or they find value from just what they've accomplished, accumulated or whatever, and if it's all gone, most people say I ain't got nothing to live for, and that's how people do stupid things. So God forbid that, but everybody's different, man. But yeah, it's not gonna be pretty. They're not gonna be happy about none of this for sure. Hey, get your popcorn. Make sure you load it too, man. You gotta protect yourself because.
My favorite investment, Lynn.
Hey, man. Appreciate you calling in, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good stuff. Let's get some more calls here. Hello, caller. Where you calling from? Let me see. You got somebody on here? Get you on here. Give me a second. I'll make sure I get you on here. I dropped you. My bad. Give me another call. I'll get you on here. Yeah, but it's not going to be a pretty day, say at least for nobody. But then again, that's life, man. Like, these type of events, they occur. They've occurred several times throughout history when there's a monetary reset, restructuring, reboot, or whatever you want to call it. It always goes haywires. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Mike, Steve,
Steve, give me something quick, man, if you don't mind. What's going on with you?
Hey, just wanted to follow up with you on the solar generators.
Yeah.
I hope everybody gets a hold of those puppies quick. I know a lot of people have not as of yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can add some information to this if I'm missing anything.
Yeah.
For the community, there's three different types. There's lithium, which is at the lower end of the scale.
Mm-hmm.
There's lithium iron phosphate,
mm-hmm.
which is good, and then there's lithium semi-solid, which is at the top of the food chain, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
I would recommend to somebody to don't get anything below 2,000 watts.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get anything below 2,000 watts, only because some of these devices that you may be using, i.e., hair dryers,
they're not strong enough.
Power washers, etc. All of these things, can consume quite a bit of power. So you want to make sure you're at least 2,000.
Yeah, good point. And on top of that, for emergency's sake, you might want to be more particular with the things you use in an emergency. Like, your wife shouldn't need to blow dry her hair if the power is out. You know what I'm saying? But then again, stuff happens. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Electric burner.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other ones. Electric skillet. I assume everybody has a crock pot.
Yeah.
I assume everybody has a rice cooker. But all of those items can be picked up for dirt cheap at Walmart. So please, everybody, don't wait till the power goes out.
Right.
Just go get this stuff now and be done with it.
Thank
you. And that being said,
appreciate you, man. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, real quick.
I want to revisit this because last time we spoke, I think nobody even heard our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Was about the military draft.
Yeah.
And I sent you an email on that today. So it's in your email there.
Okay. Let me. I'll grab it. Go ahead.
That we need to have at some point, because we all know you can't keep the U.S. You can't keep doing these things and not have bodies.
Right.
And nobody's volunteering.
Right.
So a draft, it is going to come up at some point. A draft is going to come up at some point. And what's the strategy?
Right.
At that point is my question.
Right.
I have one that's in already in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
22 years old. He went in when he was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one that's out right now. And everybody listening has somebody that they know that's in that draft age.
Right.
What will be the strategy? Yeah, what will be the strategy for this when it comes around?
Right. So watch this. That's a question I'll put out there to the audience. So guys, for those who's listening to that, what are some strategies? Put it in the comment section. But let me get some more calls. And Steve, appreciate you calling, man. But definitely something worth thinking about. Appreciate you. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point there. Some strategies. What can and what would you do? Put it like that. For those, my father's out there with kids that are military age or what, like, because you know that whatever conflict we're getting ourselves into is literally, it's a booby trap. Like, it's literally, a military, it's like the bankers' war. Every war is a banker's war. So sending your innocent kids into a death trap is not something anybody wants to do. So what do you do? Feel free, let me know in the comment section. Let me get some more calls on here. Let me get this going. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. I got somebody on here, but it's hard. I got so many calls. Let me see.
Okay, it's understandable. It's the peace pipeline and the Comecon, COMECON pipeline, and the friendship pipeline.
Yeah.
All those pipelines were supposed to be built so that Europe could have gas and natural gas and oil come flowing through them. But they got canceled, and now the U.S. is having to supply Europe the gas, a higher price gas. And so U.S. is mad at all these people, so they're going to go in after them, and they have to use Israel to do it.
Yeah.
I tried to find out all these ships that they're saying that they have over in Israel. I can't find any of them because their ASIs are off. And the ASIs are just the way you track ships.
Yeah.
And when they turn their transponders off, you can't track them.
This is some covert operation type stuff.
Israel, that could be it.
Say that again?
But when they say they're in Israel, they could be over there with their transponders off, which is illegal for one. But military-wise, they can do that. The other thing is Israel cannot attack Iran until the red heifer gets approved. Texas sent them red heifers, I think it was this year or last year, but it'll take a year for them to approve that it's 100% pure red heifer. I'm not Jewish. I don't understand Jewish traditions or anything like that. But I did read that until that happens, they cannot attack anybody surrounding them.
So I would be curious to find out the details of the red heifer associated with them not being able to attack people, because to my knowledge, the red heifer, that whole situation there is more so geared towards sacrificing for the temple, which is something that's coming in the future. So to start war with them heifers being pure now, like that's something different for me. So I'm curious to find out about that. So shoot me an email on that one. If you got information.
Yeah, what's your email address? Are you still using the Proton address?
Yeah, I still use that one, yes.
Okay, I'll send it through that one.
Bet. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in.
All right, bro.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I apologize for that interference. It's one of them things where, stuff happens, man. But so I'll probably edit and delete that out if I can. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. Tony was dropping some nuggets. So maybe that's probably about 2 minutes or so. You guys are hearing that, but he shared again what he was talking about. So Ed says, "I'm getting depressed." Hey, don't get depressed. Be excited, man. Cheer up. This is the greatest part in human history, man. To witness all this come to fruition, man. Think about how many generations would have loved to see, the coming days ahead, man. Like it's just, yeah, yeah, boy, woo-wee for the body of Christ, man. This is the part where, moving forward, we're going to really get a chance to live by faith in a world where persecution will pick up as we get closer to, the end times. People use that all the time, but as we get closer towards the end times, definitely your faith is going to be more of an asset like it has never been before for you. That's why it's always good to make sure your fate is sealed, because any moment could be your last. But it's not the end of you if you're in Christ. What else we got here? All right, well, we over at about that 40-minute mark, so longer than I was planning on going. But so once again, just thought I would plug in, share with you what caught my attention, see where you guys stand, see what's going on, and back at it tomorrow. I'm trying to do it again every day this week if I can, man. But anyway, hope you guys are enjoying Chance to Connect, share your 2 cents. And I would encourage you, if you haven't, the Telegram group, join the Telegram group. The link is in the bio. Go join the Telegram group. A lot of these articles are shared throughout the day so I can extract them and use them tonight. And then also a lot of people on there share articles that I grab as well. So join the Telegram group if you guys like, if you're on Telegram, and then follow your boy and add some stuff for me to share throughout the evening. Anyway, X talks about question, thoughts on gold, 75, silver, 660,000, and 1 million Bitcoin. So all those nominal prices are denominated in USD terms. If they get that high, that's a reflection of the USD in of itself doesn't carry much weight, literally. So once again, I think if we get to those type of figures, we'll be in an entirely new monetary structure where the next standard of value will be a lot different than USD. So people won't look at those figures the same. So of course they can go that high, but that means that the Federal Reserve note is probably no longer a medium that people will accept. So as far as the silver, that's a large number there. But Robert Kiyosaki's good for throwing out a lot of large numbers, of which they haven't come true yet. But then again, anything is possible, put like that. So those are some large figures there, but I wouldn't be banking on it, because we get to those type of figures, the world gonna be in chaos. And then again, it's like, okay, in the midst of chaos, if it's civil unrest, what good would it be to have all that nominal wealth if you can't enjoy it overall? So having those type of assets there are meant for the rebuilding phase. So you're gonna have like the right now phase, the chaos phase, then the rebuilding phase. When it's time to rebuild, hopefully you're able to still maintain some of that to have as a way to reboot your own financial and family matters. So, but in the middle, ain't nobody gonna be concerned with looking at the prices, boy. All right. Yeah, it's long-winded there. But as always, appreciate everybody for plugging in. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't. And if you found value, please share this so more people can find out what's going on. And I'm back at it tomorrow. Shalom. Visit Rethinking the Dollar throughout the day, your place for news on metals, gold, crypto, you name it. Scroll down to the bottom and you'll get a chance to see the daily videos, the recommended videos, and more importantly, the 5 reasons to unplug from the monetary matrix, with the first one being the awakening period. Step number 1, test your dollar IQ. 10 simple questions, average is 60%, followed up with the alternative perspective with the monetary reports. Consider becoming a supporter of the Rethinking the Dollar platform via Patreon. Get a chance to hang out off air, as well as additional information that can't be discussed on YouTube. Any support is helpful. With the crackdown on alternative media, the best thing to do is to connect off air. Scroll down to the very bottom. You can find Rethinking the Dollar on Telegram, audio, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, you name it. The most important ones will be the email list where you can get notified weekly, the Discord page, and make sure you connect on Telegram. And last, don't forget to visit the RTD store where you can get merchandise as well as additional information and resources. And most importantly, scroll down to the bottom and get your weight up with all the limited edition rounds only available on the RTD store.